amount of trash that we've had to listen to when it came to certain male podcasters.
Come on.
Oh my God.
I'm like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Like on a mic.
Let me tell you something.
On camera.
There's this phrase that I heard recently, and it goes, "Your boos mean nothing to me because I've seen what you cheer for." Bars.
What?
Yeah. And that right there.
Oh,
That ain't bad.
write it down.
Yeah.
Somebody write it down. Somebody write it down. What
bad
the
right
kids say?
Yeah.
To be clear, let's just get this out of the way because we need to go on and roll into this. We have a special guest with us. And you know I'm your host, Dawn Montgomery.
And it's your main man, Freddie BTV.
And today we are joined by a woman who's seen every side of the industry, from music videos to real estate to radio, and now hosting her own award-winning podcast, Hot and Bothered. Like I had to get the hot and bothered. She's not
She
just
is
a
hot.
name. Listen,
She is
stay focused. She's not just a name you know, but she's also a voice that we need to hear more of.
Mhm.
And we're going to bring on Melyssa Ford. You were very high on my personal wish list, and
Let me tell
then
you.
he saw it. And
Look, let me tell you, all my friends and my younger self, my college self is in heaven right now. Knock yourself out video and
Ah,
all the videos
You know, that's
did.
my
Like, I've seen
fave.
so many, you know what I mean?
Yes.
From a young little type, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Young type. So this is dope. This is dope.
anyway, but
dope.
before we get into anything today, we're going to talk about a lot on this show, and at the core of everything we focus in on mental health. So I just want to ask you let's start with the temperature check. Like, how are you?
It's a little bit of a loaded question.
Mhm.
I think I might be a little depressed.
Mm.
I don't know. Definitely feeling a lot of anxiety the last couple of weeks. I've been in therapy for years, and I
Okay.
have an amazing therapist.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I find so remarkable about her and how productive we've been together
Mhm.
is that she has gotten me to the point where I have direct access to how I'm feeling. You know how sometimes
Yeah.
people are like, I have to process,
Yeah.
and it can take weeks.
But you automatically know.
I'm like this,
Gotcha.
you know, and that is really incredible because the faster that you can, determine how you're feeling
Mhm.
and, and acknowledge it, then you create a plan of action as
Mhm.
to how
Mhm.
to cope and deal. And, my anxiety is, I guess, is just related to just growing pains professionally.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure things out
Mhm.
on the fly
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah.
With everybody
And that creates anxiety.
It does
Yeah.
with these expectations that not just the expectations that people have of you, because those are really down here for me.
Mhm.
The expectations I have for myself,
Gotcha.
they're over here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just stuff that I got to work through. So do you find that like cleaning works for you when you're like really
Yes.
anxious and you got to
Mhm.
process
Mhm.
stuff? I just start cleaning, like nesting,
Cleaning,
buying shelves. I'm like, oh, this
purging
whole place
things.
needs to be organized. Yeah.
purging things, getting
Yeah.
rid of things. Well, I mean, I think it was important for us to ask you that just in general because I do know
Mhm.
yesterday you had revealed some things that you have been keeping to yourself, and you were just like,
On
hey.
Twitter?
Yeah.
Holy
Ye-
cow,
ye-
you saw that?
Yes, ma'am. Look, one
Oh,
thing.
this is
thing
Twitter
about
queen
me,
right here.
Okay.
I'm not gonna miss that.
This Twitter queen right here.
But-
okay, well, I said it. Let's
But-
go.
Right, but like you were revealing something. I'm not gonna say it.
Yes,
but
you can.
You were revealing something.
Okay.
And you made it clear because we don't have to talk about it per
We
se.
can.
Okay, I appreciate that. But you made it clear to people like you don't know what someone's going through or why they know what they know, right? Because we all have our own personal experiences. So I think it's so important that you've acknowledged that even today after doing that.
Yeah.
So I want to commend you for that just first and foremost, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Well, just so everybody is kind of in on what we're talking about, I'm the sole female co-host of the Joe Budden Podcast,
Mhm.
and one of the topics that came up last week was just the mess that is going on between Halle Bailey and
Mhm.
DDG,
Mhm.
and and so when we're up there, we quote unquote take sides. And I was like, okay, well, if we're taking sides, I am firmly on her side.
Right.
There is nothing that you are going to say that is going to convince me otherwise. I have chosen my side because I have a deeper level of understanding about what she's going through.
Correct.
And the audience, God bless the audience.
God forbid a woman has her own experiences that she just doesn't publicly put out there. Like,
yeah. And so it's very easy for them to say, well, Melyssa can't talk on this subject because she doesn't know, because she's never had blah, blah, blah. And this has come up more than once. You know, well, Melyssa's never been married, so she can't talk on being married. I'm like, there's 3 over here. Sorry, can I curse? Okay. There's those up here that have never been married either.
Right.
They're in long-term relationships. That's still not marriage, as Flip would tell you.
Right.
And so when we're talking about Halle Berry and postpartum after childbirth, everyone's like, Melyssa can't talk. And I'm just like, you, first of all, how dare you?
Right.
You have no clue, and nor is it your business. It just err on the side of caution and don't say anything when it comes to a woman and childbirth and the choices that she may or may not have made or may not have actually had. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a very sensitive subject, and it's very individualistic.
It is.
You know what I'm
is.
saying?
And I think that's kind of a huge part of, like, when people talk about gender wars and things like that, it's like, I feel like a lot of times just men in general, they just automatically assume, because I know for me, I'm an ex-wife, right? And so when I talk about things, because I don't post my ex-husband or I don't talk about him a whole lot, people are like, well, you've never been married, or you want to be married or whatever. And I'm like, I've been married. Like, I've been there, done that. I'm good, you know? But to me, it's like, you just really can't speak to that. You can't speak on that. You got something to say about that, Freddie?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, I hate when people do that. Like, I've had conversations with parents and people like, do you have any children? Shut up. And it's a very like small-minded and narrow vision argument, because the thing is that you have common concepts across things. I've been a teacher, I've mentored children, and there's certain things you can talk to people when you're talking about children and being an authority figure when you're dealing with them that go across the board that I don't need to have a woman and we had a child to be able to speak on that. So to your point, I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you there, and I can just imagine you being the sole woman in all the men, because I think I can flip it. I can just imagine some of the podcasts I watch, and it's like 4 women. They like men, hater, and I was just there trying to take up for men. It's like it can kind of, it's like you got to do it because it's a job, but it's still your mental health. It's still going to weigh on you, and you got to find a way to navigate that.
The way when I commented when you came in, it's been a while since I've seen you, but like literally anytime I see a clip, I don't even really look at the tweet or like the caption or whatever. I'm already praying for you because I'm like, my good sis, I don't know what's happening on this.
I get that
but
a lot.
I hope it's more so like you're leaning into your ability to be that voice and that you're owning that, because I think that that's something that we're going to talk about later. Is just, I really genuinely appreciate that you do that, but I do know it is very taxing on your mental health.
I've gone through a metamorphosis up there. You know, I mean, in all honesty, this was a huge social experiment. You know, I made a joke to the guys. I was just like, this has been kind of like an anthropological experiment. They're like, she just called us Neanderthals. I was like, hey, well, if the Bigfoot fits, and whatever. But I mean, I will say that, like, being around guys, you know, men have always been on their best behavior around me. This is what I have determined from being up there, because they're not. Like, they're just them.
Right.
And a lot of times they forget I'm there.
Right.
So I'm like, you know,
hello.
not even that. I'm just like
what?
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how y'all talk to each other. This is crazy. But I've just learned a lot from just kind of being up there, and I've just learned how naturally combative men are. And that was not a muscle that I had. Like, I wasn't sitting on a stoop in Brooklyn, you know, going toe to toe with like, you know, my like,
you're like,
I did not have that muscle developed.
Men are naturally competitive. Like you look at like sports. Like you talk about, that's why we love Jordan and Kobe. So they came, like, you saw The Last Dance.
I know.
You say anything about Jordan, and I took that personally. Like, are you insane?
Right. Yes.
That's men.
I know. So it took me a lot of the audience, a lot of their just frustration with me, I guess some of the time was just like, why doesn't she, hit back? Why doesn't she, like go toe to toe? Because it was a muscle that I had never developed, so it has taken some time for me to, figure out, how do I fit here? And do I fit here?
Correct.
Do they want me here?
Correct.
I've gone through a lot just being up there, just trying to figure out my place, and the guys have tried to like figure out how to make me comfortable as well. So, it's a concerted effort amongst everybody. And now I'm just like, I don't give a
I know that's right.
Like I had a moment though. It was like, it was around the time that I won the Gracie Award for my podcast. I just had this epiphany. I was like, I have been trying to convince people to like me. Keep people who were committed to misunderstanding
or
me.
Or even take you seriously.
Or take me seriously.
Because that's another thing.
Yeah, or just, I don't like her, convince me to like you. No.
I don't have to do that.
I am not, I would rather draw a circle on that brick wall and bash my head in the center of it. I would get further in life.
Lord, not too much. Not too much on the brick.
Than trying to convince people. And you know what? If I do convince you to like me, it's fleeting. It's tenuous.
Yes.
It doesn't. It means I'm going to constantly have to justify, or constantly going to have to try to get keep you where you are. I got Melyssa Ford fans that are like, I rock with her. I love her.
Been there since day one.
Like exactly.
Met her in real life. Know her in real life.
Exactly. Don't have to agree with every single thing that comes out of my mouth.
Not at all.
Like, oh Mel, I don't agree with you on that one, but I still rock with you because you are consistently you.
Yes.
The you present is you all the time.
Yes.
Because I don't have the energy
to
try to perpetrate any kind of a fraud. Like, this is what you get.
Look, we will say we appreciate that in general, just because with how social media is today, there are so many people who are doing things because it's on trend. They're not consistent in who they are. They're looking to figure out their identity, which is fine in so many ways, but in a lot more ways, it's like kind of like know what your core is, and you've known that. You have stood in that. So thank you for sharing that.
But look, so we're gonna get more into your pod and we're gonna get deeper into that.
Okay.
But kind of related to what you go through a little bit at Joe Budden. We got our first little taste.
Ooh,
we had a fan hop into the comments, which we appreciate. And look, keep hopping in the comments, because this will be a reoccurring theme.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about y'all comments. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So we posted a clip asking, where did the therapy podcast go, right? And we were referencing like Red Table Talk and some other shows and things like that. And clearly somebody must have had a rough day, because this is what they said, right? People are tired of hearing Black women whine and cry all the time, period. That's why Michelle Obama podcast is a joke. ... Don't nobody want to hear them bash men and cry and whine on a MC all day, every day. Nobody wants to hear all that. End quote. Now, we're not gonna say nothing about Michelle, so let's just take that part out.
Yeah.
Shouts out to our forever first lady. Yes. But what bothers me is that at one point, especially in the podcast space, it was a lot of men who had mics.
There still is.
Now that we've got some mics, now it's a problem. How do you feel about something like that, or hearing something like that? Especially based on like how people just automatically sometimes are like, I don't even want to hear what Melyssa has to say. I want to hear everybody else. Like that type of thing.
That is the type of comment that I would just, I would have thrown it in the bin, honestly, because it's not even constructive. You know what I'm saying? Like it's meant to be harmful. You know what I'm saying? Your intentions they suck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to progress any kind of conversation, and therefore your comment is completely irrelevant. You're angry. And that really is just some gender war-y stuff.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, like, the amount of trash that we've had to listen to when it came to certain male podcasters.
Come on.
Oh my God.
I'm like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Like on a mic.
Let me tell you
on
something.
camera.
There's this phrase that I heard recently, and it goes, your boos mean nothing to me because I've seen what you cheer for. Bars.
What?
Yeah. And that right there.
Oh,
That ain't bad.
write it down.
Yeah.
Somebody write it down. Somebody write it down.
ain't
What
bad
the
right
kids say?
Yeah. But it's
That ain't
just
bad
like,
right there.
I
your
like
boos
that.
mean nothing because I've seen what you cheer
Oh,
for.
I like that. I
and
like that. I like that.
therefore, be gone.
Be gone. What did you think when you saw that? Because I know you saw it. You
Yeah,
saw it first.
I saw it. That statement, it just real quick, it reminded me of like another thing we talk about men being combative. Like men, we got this thing where we, like the girls you date, we'll like roast our guys. So it's like I got this one guy, I dated this one chick. He was like, I mean, you know, but she kind of short, and I'm like, you seen the chicks you talk to? Like, I don't want to hear nothing about you talking about like the chicks I talk to kill the chicks you talk to. The chicks you talk to, none of them would matter to me. None of them would factor on my Richter scale, sir. So it made me think about that. But when I saw this comment, the thing is like in anything you got your far reach, you got your spectrum, right?
Yeah.
You got places, you got some podcasts that are fine, some are good, and some are really good. You got your podcasts that are really bad. You know what I mean? You got your male red pill podcasts that go way left, and you just be like, fam, like you a little too much He-Man woman hater club. You doing too much. You scaring the chicks.
I love grits and eggs. Ain't that grits and eggs?
Grits and eggs.
What's his name?
Deontay.
I
Yeah.
love him. So like
I like
that,
the tonight's
to me,
conversation.
just him alone. Put him in the front.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
But
like
go ahead.
like every dude got like they've been in a group of guys where you go out, you're like, all right, man, the talent looking nice and the chicks looking nice. We look smelling good, looking good. You got that one guy that just be saying wild stuff. You're like, fam, can you shut up? You scaring all the hoes, man.
He's trying to sabotage y'all.
Like, bro, shut up. Stop talking. You scaring the hoe. Like, we about to win and you saying stupid stuff.
He's actively
You know
trying
what I
to
mean?
sabotage you because
Exactly.
he don't want you guys to win because he knows he won't.
Exactly.
Right,
So you got
right.
that. But then you also you got the women, the men haters that we don't need men and
Yeah.
men are irrelevant, all this other type of stuff.
Yeah.
So you got those two things. I think this guy right here, I have no problem with anybody saying what you don't like.
Yeah.
I have no problem, no problem what you
Agreed.
don't like.
Agreed.
But make sure you explain, to your point, like what's the substantiability behind it? Like, can you explain what you don't like?
And
Give me some
also-
facts.
And also in that light, it's like, are we whining or are we actually presenting something that you aren't necessarily familiar with, right? It can seem like we're whining or we're nagging or we sound some type of way because you're not used to hearing women be very direct or upfront about how they feel about various things. But it's like for you to just outrightly just say that.
And dismiss it.
Yeah.
You're
it's
not the
like-
demo, dude.
Like,
You're
this
not
ain't
the
for
demo.
you. Like,
You're
it's
not
okay.
the demo. You don't even really like women.
Right?
You
Come
don't
on,
really like
clock
women
it.
because let me tell you something. I know what it looks like when a man actually likes women.
Mhm.
When he likes a woman, when he likes women outside
Mhm.
of how we can service you,
Yeah.
pleasure you, mother you.
Mhm.
I know what it looks like when men value women as human
Mhm.
beings. I know what that looks
Yeah.
like. And I also know what it looks like when they don't.
Right.
I know what it looks like when you like what we do for you, when we like how you pleasure us.
But
But
step
you would
outside of
not,
that.
you don't want to spend any time with us
Yeah.
outside of those moments.
Yeah.
You don't like us.
Mhm.
You don't like us.
All right. On that note.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all saw it right
Throw
there.
that one.
Well, it sounded like that
Sorry,
fan was.
Brianna.
It sounded like that fan was definitely hot and bothered.
We throw that one.
Y'all see what I did there? That fan
He
definitely
was-
sound
he
hot
was-
and bothered.
He
Hot
was
and
bothered.
bothered.
Y'all see what I did? Let's go ahead and segue into, you like you said, you award winning.
Yes,
For your
award winning.
podcast, so.
Specifically a Gracie Award, because we have to point that out. Like, that says a lot about how impactful you've been in using your voice in this space. How does that feel for you?
It was, first of all, I thought I was just nominated.
I
And-
remember seeing the video.
And then when I real time, I found out, I was like, wait, I won?
You
like-
actually won?
Like it was such a great moment because I never won anything. I mean, I've been given
This
honor.
is different.
This is different.
This is different.
Yeah, a submission amongst many submissions,
Mm-hmm.
and mine was chosen,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt so validating because so many people told me no one's going to care, Melyssa.
Oh no, we're listening.
No one's because I wanted to put like a strong emphasis. The tent poles of my show is women's sexual health and wellness,
right?
Mental health, so that includes all of us.
Here's why she's here, yeah.
And then also to not leave out my male fans,
Correct.
I want to teach men and women how to age gracefully and what that actually looks like with
that.
medical intervention, screenings that you need to go for,
yes.
just lifestyle changes that you need to make as you get older. These are the tent poles of my show. And then there's other stuff mixed in and stuff like that. But to try to talk to Black folks about their health is like pushing a boulder up a hill wearing roller skates.
Oh, you're going through that brick wall. Good luck.
Nobody wants to hear it. It is wild to me how many people do not want to acknowledge things that might be going on with them. There's a reason why we're losing so many of our legends before the age of 65, 60, and sometimes even 55, and sometimes even 50.
Right.
They're dying from preventable diseases. Like I'm talking about DJ Clark Kent. I'm talking about, rest in peace, Irv Gotti.
We almost lost Jamie Foxx.
We almost lost Jamie Foxx. But it's just like, in regards to DJ Clark Kent, he died of colon cancer. A lot of our men are not getting colonoscopies.
Please get that checked.
Yeah, and they're learning that they have colon cancer at stage 4. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, it's treatable. Once it hits stage 4, it's kind of a wrap, And also like heart disease and cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of Black folks. And so I don't just have conversations about this. I actually use myself as a guinea pig and I film myself going for my screenings. Yeah. So I went for a CT calcium scan to test how much plaque had calcified in the arteries of my heart. My doctor put me on cholesterol medication right away. I'm the picture perfect.
I was fixing to say, I'd be asking me, have you had your cholesterol levels checked or your blood pressure
6 months,
checked before you mess with me? Because baby, I will raise your cholesterol and your blood pressure. Okay, get that checked. Okay,
but it's super important. So this was a very validating experience for me because the Gracie Awards, they've been around for 50 years.
Yeah, and you were nominated and won for Best Original Online Show. Like the fact that it's original and it's your thing and you thought these things out and it became that's amazing.
Yeah, and so, now when people are like, you know what you should do? I have the award. I'm like, no, tell me what I should do. Tell me exactly what I should do. Do you have one of these?
Good luck.
Okay. All right.
Good luck. But the biggest thing to me is like you're still focusing in on women's health. And I love how you turned your perimenopause journey into Hot and Bothered because you saw me fanning before you even came over here. We was talking about, do you have portable fans, electric fans, all the things.
Yeah, they had a fan conversation.
Listen, a fan conversation. But let's be real. So many women go through this, but barely anyone talks about it. I feel like in general, the way that you open it up isn't just for just women, but it's also for a man that wants to watch the show because they may be a fan of yours or the guests that you have. Because I was telling Freddie, like, it's amazing to see that within this conversation that you're having about women's health and things like that, you find ways to bring men into that. Yeah. Like, how intentional is that for you?
It's very intentional because they live with us. Like, let's just say your wife is going through perimenopause, your mom, your grandma, your sister, your aunts. Like, men, you have women in your lives. And the more that you understand what they're going through on a physiological level, that they're not just spazzing out, there is a cause for the behavior that she's exhibiting. Like, I had one of my best friends, her husband literally deer in headlights looks like, Melyssa, like, what the fuck is going on? And she privately is saying to me, Mel, I want to kill him, and he didn't do anything. And I'm just like, I get it. I understand. So we went out to dinner and I just had a long conversation with both of them as telling him what she's going through.
A mediator. Isn't that what I talked about previously on episodes? I like that.
It's important, for him to understand what she's going through and for her to understand what she's going through because the worst part is feeling like you're losing your mind, which we feel like we are.
We feel like we are. And then a lot of times when we do open up about it, we may not even know how to really fully communicate it, like because it's something different.
And then we get gaslit by the majority of the medical industry. Why? Because they have absolutely no training whatsoever.
Let me tell you something. Because this does not look the same in everybody. Yes, there may be symptoms. Yes, there may be things.
There's 80 to 100 different symptoms.
Let me tell you something. I can't keep up. I'm on symptom 52. I can't, it's a lot going on and it's stressful For you in your journey, when you knew, explain that shift and why there was a voice that might have said, hey, I think I need to talk through this and I need to create this avenue.
Well, I had the misfortune of finding myself at the intersection of unimaginable grief because my mom died and the onset of perimenopause. So when I say that it is a miracle that I did not get and start stabbing people just in the streets, y'all should thank me.
No, thank you.
Because it was
I'm still stuck on.
It was a combination. So these were my symptoms. My hair was falling out in clumps. My skin, which is normally tea, was dry like the Crypt Keeper. Nails were breaking. Weight was gaining. I was like, who this? Because I've always had the tiniest little waist, no more kind of thing. It's just, I felt like,
I'm so dead.
The words that a lot of women use is, I don't feel like myself.
Yes.
And that means so much. That is a loaded statement. So I just did not.
But it also means something's wrong. Like
I had mental fatigue. I had debilitating fatigue. I had mental fog. I had lack of concentration. But a lot of these symptoms are the same symptoms as grief. So I didn't know which fresh hell I was waking up to.
Not fresh hell.
I would have joint pain so bad that the only way that I could describe it was it feels like the meat is falling off the bone. Ooh, that is how I would just be laying there and just felt unimaginable pain just shooting down my legs. It was awful. So thankfully I had a gynecologist who was really dope. He did not gaslight me. He did not tell me that I was wrong. He was just like, let's get you on hormone replacement therapy. Do you know how many doctors are afraid to get their patients on hormone replacement therapy? They are terrified because they still believe in the junk science that this one doctor it was never even proven science said that hormone replacement therapy causes breast cancer. It was an out and out lie. The science has been debunked, and so many women do not get on hormone replacement therapy, and they find themselves with brittle bones at the age of 55. Like, it's wild. Yeah. So I started hormone replacement therapy. I'm asymptomatic. I've been on it for like 5 years. So I don't have any of the symptoms. Night sweats, sweating through the mattress, waking up 6 times a night. I sleep straight through the night. Everything is everything. I got concentration back. I got it all.
When did you start this perimenopause journey?
I would say that I started to feel the signs like around 43. And my mom told me that. She was like, just to let you know, I started menopause at 42, and that's probably going to happen to you. And that's all she said. I was like, what the fuck is menopause?
When my OBGYN finally uttered the words perimenopause, which was when I think I was 39, I went and I called my mom and my auntie, who I called TT. I went and called them two on the phone. I had my sister on the phone. And we're all on call. And I'm like, hey, I need to talk to y'all about something. They're thinking, oh, no, you're pregnant. Or, oh, no, it's blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, you elderly heifers need to tell me what was going on with y'all when y'all started perimenopause and menopause. And you know what my aunt said? My aunt was like, well, I had a little sweat here and there, but I was fine. And then my mom was like, child, I don't know when mine happened because it just stopped. I said, so in other words, you didn't know what was going on because honestly, to my mom's credit, right, she worked multiple jobs. So to her, it might have been her moving and doing all of the things for me and my siblings. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, Lord, I can take that one or two ways. I can either think that it's going to be something simple and it's just going to go away, or I can actually start having this conversation with my doctor. And I have my sister on the phone because technically, from the ages that they did it, I'm like 5 or 6 years younger than that when I catch it. So I'm like, hey, you need to be on the hook because you're over 35 now, sis. Like you need to be paying attention. So I think those conversations, having those conversations with elderly women in your family, multiple, not just your mom, but multiple, and understanding what they went through, I think that has helped me strongly.
Yeah, that's another reason why I created Hot and Bothered with Melyssa Ford, because I wanted to create a community of women. I wanted to help the younger women where this is coming down the pipeline. You can't avoid it. It's coming. And the women who are currently going through it. So we have a community where we're exchanging information and biohacking our own bodies to figure out what works, what doesn't. And then for the women who are older than us that have been through it, you are you can offer us sage wisdom and let us know what you did to weather this storm. So we're all just kind of creating this community where we're helping one another kind of deal with this transition in life. Because honestly, it sounds like it's hell, and yes, it kind of is, but I do have to stress what comes with it. You run out of fucks. Yeah. Boy, do you run out of them.
Listen.
Boy, it feels glorious to run out of them, to really like not care. And the self-awareness that comes with it.
I feel like that's another part of like the beauty of aging. Like, you know, like, cause that's one thing I've always loved about my elders in my family. They have never given a fuck. So the older I'm getting, I'm like, oh, I'm there. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I think this is a really great conversation because like I just found out about it like a couple years ago talking to this one young lady. We were, kind of start talking and she was talking about like her doctor
Let me give you credit real quick because you always talking to somebody. I will give you like now y'all know he will call me out and be like, Dawn, you're not the average. You are not the average man because you are consistently, when you don't know something, you immediately go straight to a woman and ask them.
That's amazing.
Hey, how is this or what is this? So thank you.
That is amazing.
The thing is because like you said it earlier about living with a woman. Like when I was in my 20s, I'm like, I want to marry a woman. So if I want to marry a woman, that means I'm gonna be living a long time with a woman. Right. And the thing is, my philosophy as a man, like when you get married, like we know how great you are through your wife. Like if your wife is beaming, if she's glowing, if she's feeling good, like you could have on some Air Monarchs and some cargo shorts and a wife beater, have nothing on, but we look at your wife and she glowing and she beaming, we know you killing it. Because the thing is if women wasn't in this world, dudes, we wear hooping shorts and beaters all day.
Look, y'all wouldn't have a whole lot if we weren't here.
But that's how you know a man is doing something. So that's been my focus. Like I have a bunch of female friends and I just said this to our producer Tiara earlier before we started the show. Like I sit with women all the time and just let them talk, and I hop in and talk, and then they'll bring me in and I just learn about women. That's why like I know so much about women hairstyles and nails and all these different types of things. We're like, oh, you know
we
about
are
that?
fascinating
I sure
creatures.
do. Come on in my bedroom.
You know what? Too much. Anyway, so no, I will say this, from watching the show and seeing some of the male guests, I think that that's such a beautiful thing because they're so willing to be on the show. Like they genuinely are like beaming when they're on the show because not only are they in conversation with you, but they're like, this is a platform that I want to reach. And I think that that's a beautiful thing that she's creating within this space.
Yeah.
You got a kiss on it.
I did. And obviously people would think that I interviewed Jadakiss, I'm going to talk about music. I'm like, actually, I don't want to talk about music, and I want to
layered.
And I want exactly, and I want to give him the opportunity to actually do an interview where it's focused on him, the person, him, the human being, him, the man, without that Dipset verse is a man.
Like we don't have to do all that.
No. So I just
it was hard though.
It really was like the best verse.
The best
like,
one.
we gotta
really
make sure we clear that. We're not trying to gloss over it.
It was, but I just really tried to humanize people who might be looked at in a very one-dimensional manner, because I know a little something about that.
I was getting ready for our next thing. We're just going to roll on into
a little tight.
Because she just did that. That was perfect. Because for you, understanding how to humanize others, I'm so sure you've run into that where people are already just judging you off rip. Like, how are you able to stay confident in an industry that doesn't always give women room to age or even to be?
It's not like I started off this confident at all. Not even close. I talk a lot about the facade that I used to walk around with, and I always made it look like there was no crack in the facade. I was always confident. I was always poised and composed, and you never knew what was going on beneath the surface. And usually it was choppy waters at best. It was a Category 5 hurricane at worst. Gotcha. But as I've gotten older and been in therapy, intense therapy, for many, many, many years, I think everybody should go to therapy.
Yes, I co-sign.
People have a very strange idea as to what therapy is, which is why they're so resistant to it. But you get the right therapist and you create plans of action.
Yes.
Like we'll get through one plan and then my therapist will be like, so where do you want to go next? And I'm just like, let's do some inner child stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I think that I've got some stuff that's buried deep, and I want to see how I can uncover that and discover more about myself. Like, the journey of self-discovery is so just eye-opening, you know, and it's just so wondrous, and it's painful.
It is.
But
and I think that's the other part of it. It's like, so a lot of people don't really want to see who they are. And I think
that blows my mind, though.
Exactly. So coming back to you, because you are so sure of who you are, and you are, how can I say this? You are like, you stand in it. Like you're proud, no matter what decision it is, no matter what you say, no matter how you feel. I think a lot of people don't understand what that feels like for them.
I think also you understand why you're at a place. Like, cause I was watching you when you were talking about Jada, because y'all talking about the video, and he was saying about, like, you know, people always thought the video girls was getting on with the guy, and the guy told him, yeah, get into it. But you said, like, I'm here, they're paying my rate. You know why you were there.
Yeah.
When you go to therapy, you gotta know why you're there. Some people don't really realize why they're there, and they want to gloss over stuff and not be truthful.
Yeah.
And not dig because it hurts. But it seems like you know why you're there.
No, I want to dig.
Yeah.
I want to dig deep. Like, I want to know, because it also allows me, I constantly use myself and my experiences like I'm a guinea pig. And so whatever I learn from my experiences, I use that, and then I curate my conversations with my guests and other people so that I can ask really introspective questions on things that I've just learned about, so that I can create a different conversation than maybe people have ever heard from this particular person.
Yeah,
you know?
T.S. Madison was,
oh my God. I mean, right? She's just everything.
She is phenomenal, but I loved how easy that conversation was for her, because I've seen her on other shows, and there's this, you see a shift, but she was able to, like, literally, like, just be.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the beautiful thing about you and your confidence and who you are. You are that person. Like, you want other people to have that.
And there's the other thing that I'm trying to lead by example is, you know, this is an industry that demands perfection from women in every way, shape, and form,
no matter what
especially aesthetically. And we should be allowed to age naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not 25 anymore. I don't want to be. I would right, child. I know, thank you. But I honestly,
I'm right here. I'm close. Perfect.
He is.
I would hate to be 25 right now.
Listen, I don't want it.
I loved the world when I was 25. It was great. There was no social media. There was none of that. I got to, we got to make mistakes without the whole world knowing.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Like, it was a glory. The music was better. Like, it was just a glorious time.
The rates were better.
Exactly. I like being where I am. I like being 48 years old. I have never lied about my age. I refuse to lie about I refuse to adhere to the notion that women cannot age, that there's something wrong with us, that we lose value. I will not. I am going to sit here with my, with my fine lines and crow's feet. I don't give a shit. They're here.
Right.
They let
Stop.
I'm waiting to line that.
They let you know that I've lived. They let you know I'm having an expression.
And I think that part too.
And I'm
because
feeling.
I want more younger women, because what I'm seeing, because
they're getting Botox and fillers younger and younger.
Because I was going to ask you, what does self-care look like for you, especially working in the podcast space? But I think another thing that's talked about just in general on social is the work that most younger women are doing, like all of the things. And I'm like, girl, you ain't even lived long enough for you to even think that that's going to be a problem for you later on in life. Like, how does that make you feel seeing those type of things?
I feel so sad for them. I do. I feel so sad for them, because exactly what you said, you have not lived enough life. Like, my 16-year-old body was different from my 26-year-old body was different from my 36-year-old body. They were all T. But you know what I'm saying? Exactly. But I just hadn't settled into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the funny thing is, this body, with all the flaws that I have,
I love this one.
I love this body so much. She is not perfect. Like 32 years old, you could bounce a quarter off any part of my body. Like it was actually 38. Shit was still sitting.
Like this conversation.
You are in the same way. But you know what? My body shows the life that I've lived, and it also shows how well I've taken care of myself. It shows my sense of self-preservation.
That's the care of self.
Exactly. It shows that I did not fall victim or adhere to beauty trends that like make you alter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's by all means, like if you decide to do that,
whatever floats your boat.
We want you to do what makes you happy. But I think the biggest thing that I just want more younger women to understand is that I want you to embrace you. Because the sooner you do that, the more you won't feel like you have to continuously fix things or improve things.
And it's the same concept as when you buy something you've been coveting for a long time and you buy it. Oftentimes we get it and there's novelty there for first few couple of weeks.
New toy syndrome, yes.
New toy syndrome, exactly. Same thing with surgery and all this. That's why you keep going back to get more and more and more, because the level of satisfaction does not last.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. You talked about the body, like your mental self-care throughout the years, because you've evolved and had so many forms in this world. And the thing is what's often tough is when you get to the end of one and you're starting a new one, it's uncertainty and it's scary. And you did videos, now you're in podcasts, you've acted, you've done all these different things. Like, talk about your mental self-care as you transition throughout the years. Because I know you've reached areas where it's like, what is about to happen? Like, is things gonna keep living?
Well, I mean, I remember when, I wasn't in therapy and I self-medicated with way too much alcohol and way too much weed. That's not awesome.
Right.
That's not a solution. So, I would say that like my therapy journey kind of started around the age of 36 is where I started to like consistently see a therapist, like once a week kind of thing. And it helped me to develop healthier coping mechanisms. And also, when it came to my mom passing away, I realized I had been so hard on myself mentally. The negative narrative in my head was vicious. It was bad. Like, I would just tell myself I wasn't worth anything. I'm stupid. I couldn't make a mistake because I would make myself pay for it. And I realized that when my mom passed away, I was like, Mel, there's no one left on this earth to love you the way that your mother loved you unconditionally. There's no home to go home to. Like, there's no home. It's gone. So if you do not love yourself and offer yourself grace, and then fast forward to working with my therapist, learning to reparent myself, reparent young Melyssa and give her what she did not have, I'm not going to make it. I'm not. And I've dealt with suicidal ideations throughout my lifetime. So I have to be very careful with how low I let myself sink, and I've gotten to the point where like I now know how to reach out for help too.
I love that.
And my friends will rally around and cover me and take care of me as long as I need to be taken care of. And then just check on me and stuff like that. And we do this for each other kind of thing.
So y'all create space for that.
We absolutely.
That's what we was talking about.
And honestly, I have to say this, like, I don't know what it's like to be a man, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like you guys offer each other much in that way, to offer each other that space to be vulnerable and have like those kinds of deep level conversations that women have. We will call each other up and be like, bitch, before anything, how you good? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we go there right away. And I feel like men oftentimes are very like, that's not my business. I can't get involved. And I'm just like, yeah, you should. Right. You should absolutely get involved. Right, you should absolutely interfere if you feel like somebody's mental health is not, okay. They're kind of like hanging on by a thread.
I was talking to somebody about unaliving yourself ideations, and people always say like, reach out, call the number. And I was talking to somebody, I was like, it doesn't work like that. And I gave the analogy at like saying happy birthday. That's like me calling you and telling you it's my birthday, celebrate me. It's like you know it's my birthday. Like you gotta you reach out to that person.
Yeah.
Like so it's kind of like
that's a touch point that's the only time you're really gonna hear from somebody sometimes.
Right.
Like
one thing I live by is if you come across my mind, I will text you or call you.
Same.
Like I've gotten tight on that. That's one thing I implore everybody out there to do. If somebody come across your mind randomly, they just pop up in your spirit like, Dawn, call Dawn. Please call me. Her. You know, pop up in your spirit.
Call me. Just cash out me first. Because baby, more than likely I need some money. Anyway, to wrap this up, you know, Melyssa, you know, I just need to take a quick little moment. I'm not gonna try to get too teary-eyed, but you are the epitome of a Black woman taking up space. You are someone who, I know for me, so you were like one or two I'm gonna say one generation away or one generation ahead. Video vixen. I wasn't a video vixen, but I was in videos. So I made my money and got out. But I will say this, if there was someone that I was looking up to or someone that I saw, it was like you and Natasha and Tay. And it was like LaShawna had all y'all. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but to see where all of y'all are in life and to see where you are, it's so motivating. And it's so like, you know what? She said, I'm going to do this my way and I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to have a beautiful face, body on point, all of the things. Even if it's not on some days, I'm still going to show up. So the fact that you do that every day, I just wanted to physically give you flowers today. But I do know for her, I physically wanted you to know that we appreciate you.
Oh,
and
this
I have
is
a
so
card
thoughtful.
for you as well. This
Thank
is from
you.
me and Freddie, but the card is me.
Thank you.
For sure.
Oh my God, this is so lovely.
You're
welcome. Great.
God, they really
You
do.
smell great. I did good. Shouts out to the Whole Foods in Brooklyn. Powden. Shouts out to you, girl, because you my dog. I appreciate you.
Oh, this
Shout
is
out
so
to Miss
lovely.
Ford.
Yes, Miss Ford. To
Yes.
have her on this show is just, it's huge. It's huge.
It's
It's
huge.
huge. I really appreciate it.
This
We
is
really
a pretty
appreciate it.
card. Oh,
Look, she's looking at the
thank
card
you.
and everything, y'all.
It's beautiful because I'm thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate that. This is
You're welcome.
wonderful.
Yay. But to be clear, I'm gonna need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe still.
Yes, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and guys, make space for your peoples.
Yes.
And give Melyssa a little grace on the Joe Budden Podcast. It's
Because
all
I'm
them
gonna
guys,
be
like,
on
you know,
your ass.
let her be a woman, man. We don't want to transform into a man and she would get combative and stuff. We don't want to do
Thank
that,
you.
fellas. Y'all complain about the women being combative. Y'all trying to make her combative.
Thank you.
Let her be a woman. Let her rest of her
you.
feminine.
Thank you.
And that's bye.